Conklin and Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
Welcome back, everyone. Take 3 now with Tom Troy of the Toledo Blade joining us. And Tom, good to see you again. Let's go back to this past week. It was a big week for local politics, reorganizational meetings of the Democrats and the Republicans. Certainly not a surprise that the Republicans took most of the headlines here. What's old is new again, as I said at the top of the show. John Stainbrook retains his seat as chair of the local party. Right. But it's what happened at that reorganizational meeting that really kind of wowed everybody here and that watches this scene closely here.
Well, the unpopularity of John Stainbrook comes through at events like this. He's very effective at running the party, at electing people to the central committee. But he's not popular with what still could be called the old guard, and also what is the new guard, the Tea Party. And these people that are of the old guard and the Tea Party have sort of joined forces, a marriage of convenience, and their common enemy is John Stainbrook. They don't think he's truly a Republican. He's a rhino, Republican in name only. So they got behind Bill Delaney. Okay, have a contest, have a leadership fight, but behave like adults. We saw behavior last night that looked more like something you'd see in the cafeteria at a high school or a junior high school, you know, over losing our senior privileges or something. It was really remarkable, the lack of decorum, and it was primarily coming from the Delaney people.
No surprise that John Stainbrook did retain his seat, though.
Right.
And we had talked about scenarios that would have had to have happened for Delaney to have won. Now, with all this being said, moving forward, the Republican Party, no surprise, has struggled here. But what can the local party do to gain some momentum, some traction after events like this? Is it possible going forward?
I think things were made worse by what happened last night. I think there were a lot of disgusted people, and there was discussion. Rob Ludeman was one of the people who was there as a central committeeman. He's had a tenuous relationship with John Stainbrook as a Republican. They're both successful Republicans in their own ways, absolutely, and they have a certain grudging respect of each other. I think that was frayed last night. Ludeman walked out disgusted with the whole thing, equally disgusted with both sides, he told me, actually talking about starting some kind of alternative organization. We saw this happen on the Democratic Party side in around 2005. Now, if you take that as your timeline, we saw the Democratic Party achieve a smooth transition of leadership Monday night, 7, 8 years later. So are we looking at an 8-year timeline for the Republicans to regroup and have a harmonious county, city Republican Party?
Long way to go.
Yeah.
But we have the Tea Party involved here, no question. And in Virginia the other night, I mean, the stunner that shocked that state and the rest of the country,
right,
when Eric Cantor's upset by this little-known economics professor, Bratt.
Right.
Is there a chance for the Tea Party here to make some inroads now with the Republican Party so fractured?
Right. Well, there's, I would say, very little chance to make inroads in Lucas County, which is predominantly Democrat and has been. So it can't, even moderate Republicans have a hard time getting traction in Lucas County. The idea that a Tea Party, moderate Republicans, the idea that a Tea Party Republican would do so would be hard to believe. You'd see that more likely in a Bob Latta situation. Bob Latta is very aware of the pressures from the right, and he does not allow himself to get out there to where he can be accused of being a liberal. Now, Eric Cantor got in trouble as being somebody who was mouthing opposition to amnesty,
right,
but gave the impression that he was going to accommodate to it.
Going a little bit more toward the center,
right,
and
right.
In turn, he sealed his own fate.
And we do have a very active Tea Party here, and they've been focusing on Stainbrook.
John McAvoy and company.
John
right?
McAvoy, who lives in Wood County, by the way. Bill Delaney, who's never really been involved in politics, ran for city council last year, declaring his desire to have nothing to do with a political party. Now he's seeking to run the Republican Party.
Well, and you spoke to this a little bit earlier when you said that some Republicans are not done, not despite the fact that John Stainbrook is in place, that other factions within the party will rise up.
Right.
And Bill Delaney promising that as well.
Well, whether Bill Delaney means what he says or has the ability to do it, there's some thought that Bill Delaney is sort of riding a wave here, provided by, again, this marriage of convenience between the suburban Republicans who have not been on board Stainbrook since day one, which started in 2008, and these Tea Partiers who are a more recent phenomenon. And I'm not saying, I mean, it's a legitimate wing of the party. They've kind of come together, but really what can they do? They have the opportunity every 2 years to put elected people on the Central Committee, and this comes up every 2 years, and Stainbrook always controls the Central Committee because he's good at getting people to run. There's 351 seats possible. He has a lot of friends out there. He
can recruit.
He recruits. He's got friends in most precincts. So out of the 266 committeemen who were elected, he and his allies personally got 213 of them elected. And that discounts the other 30 or so who just support Stainbrook without having to be recruited by him.
But the challenge going forward, can he recruit candidates who can win?
Well, again, it's a very Democratic county. We're going to see something happen in the Senate race here in Lucas County. Edna Brown is on the ballot for re-election, Democrat. Was easily defeated Tom Winooski 4 years ago, but now Jack Ford is running as an independent. There's an opening for a Republican there, and you might be hearing some news there.
While all this is happening with the Republican Party, Democrats and Steve Steele, here comes Steve Steele, and nary a whimper after Monday night.
Well, I think Ron Rothenbuehler read the tea leaves. He could see clearly that Steve Steele had pretty carefully lined up support among the Democrat Central Committee. So what you saw there was a desire to avoid the spectacle that we saw on the Republican side and convey to the public, we're an adult organization here. We see which way, which direction, which faction has the upper hand here. Steve Steele talked the kind of talk that the people wanted to hear. He's going to put resources out there. He's going to get volunteers, all the kinds of things that Rothenbuehler, as well liked as he is, never really got done. And Steve Steele now has to live up to the billing that he's created for himself.
All right, Tom Troy, Toledo Blade, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, make it a great day. Thank you. Make it a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week on another edition of Conklin & Company, and all this week on 13 ABC Action News.